smacked him on the back of the head. I mean, it didn't physically hurt him, obviously, but he was a bit splattered with a pile down his back, and his hat was somewhere in the crowd. So going back to what is normal, I don't really think on that occasion he may have been a very good policeman otherwise, but on that day, it obviously wasn't his day. It wasn't normal behaviour really to be
No, it wasn't.
singling out people who weren't doing anything wrong. But I think we were quite relieved to see the young policemen, the police constables, they were all laughing, helplessly, but they just had to try and hide it from their boss. So yeah, that was an example of abnormal behaviour on his part, I think.
It felt like it sounded like something you'd see in a movie when it's,
Absolutely, it was. Yeah, you'd see it and you think it was all a big set-up thing, but we never really understood. People we talked afterwards, no one understood why he was doing that. It's just like he was trying to find trouble, which wasn't there. It
Yeah.
really wasn't. So I've never understood why he was doing that. Perhaps he just had a bad day and someone had upset him, and he was making his weight felt about the place.
You know,
But it
you know,
was it was funny, I must say.
I'm thinking the worst place you can do anything like that is at a football ground, because there's all
Yeah,
sorts of people there. They're just
yeah,
there, if they're peaceful, you're having a good day as a policeman.
it is. Yeah, and that's the other thing that I don't know who threw it. I mean, it came seemingly above us, and he looked round, and people were just laughing. But no, I mean, I just thought, well, the poor chap's lost his pie, sort of thing. But it was obviously better for him to see, and he was so accurate. I mean, it's not as if he was very close to the policeman; it just got him right on the back of the head.
And he got the
I've
right
never forgotten that. Needless to say.
Oh, dear me. I did talking about this football hooliganism that you're talking about, and how it used to be rampant back in the days. It just got me thinking that now is it the norm now, or was it the norm then? When they had all the violence in football and
Mm.
all the radicalism in football, was it the norm then? Are we having a change from the norm now? Do you see what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I
Because
do.
yeah, because when I was growing up, I was told never to go to a football match because there was all these sorts of
Mm.
and radicalism there, and you could get in a fight just like that. Um,
Mm.
and now it's sort of quelled down a little bit. I'm thinking, well, it's changed. Is it changed? Was this the norm? Was this what it was meant to be?
Mm.
It just got me thinking on that norm bit. Um, yeah, but it's a funny story though. He really got what he really got his comeuppance there.
He did. Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
I think football just went through a very difficult phase in the 80s and even beginning of the 90s, I suppose. Even now, you still get pockets
oh
of
yeah,
bad behaviour, but generally, I think football crowds are fairly well controlled. I mean, certainly Kimberly has a season ticket. Lucy does, but I mean, she often works on
yeah.
a match day anyway. She has a part-time job until she goes to uni later in the year. And she's not so keen, but Kimberly loves her football. And frankly, if there was any sense of risk, to them, I would never take them along to a football match. So,
Yeah.
it's all pretty safe, thankfully, nowadays.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. We've just had a leap year, aren't we? Or yeah, we're
Yeah, this is elite. Yeah,
having a leap year, aren't we? And
we are.
yeah. I was watching the news the other day, and there were people that were born on the 29th, and they only do their birthdays every 4 years.
Well, it's interesting. I think if what I understand is that if you're born on the 29th before midday,
Yeah.
then your birthday is on the 28th for the other 3 years, and then it's the 29th. After midday, it becomes the 1st of March. I think if it were me, I would just stick with the last day in February because because they're not born in March, are they? So it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
quite make sense to say the 1st of March. I would always stay with the 28th of Feb, apart from the leap year when you can have your real birthday.
Yeah. If someone was born 4 leap years ago, they'd be 4 years old, wouldn't
Yeah, that's right.
they?
It's a bit like dog years, isn't it? Apparently they have 7 years for our year or something, don't they?
There were a guy, I think there was about two guys on the news, and it was proper saying, I'm 8 years old, and he's a grown man with beards and all that, you're not 8 years old.
30, 32, really. Yeah.
You're not 8 years old. You're a grown man. Yeah, that made me laugh though. Yeah, plausible
One of
deniability.
the things,
Yeah,
sorry, one of the things on your list before
yeah,
was which I thought was interesting. What do you think is the most talked about subject in England? I
yeah.
mean, I guess there's a risk of that discussion becoming a bit too serious. But what do you think is the most talked about, the most talked about subject?
Well, I think the most talked about subject in England is the weather. You can never go wrong with that.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, we're known for that, aren't we? Talking
Yeah,
about the weather.
yeah.
Yeah,
Always complain about the weather. We don't get any sun, and then when the sun comes out, we're like, oh yeah, we're spoiling. We're the first to complain.
we're never satisfied, really.
I know, yeah. The sun is probably up there going, yeah, all right. You make up your mind, what you want. Do you want me or do you want the rain?
Yeah, we don't get enough sun, do we, in our country? We really don't.
No, we don't do it. Yeah, we don't get enough sun.
No.
But do you know what always surprises me? Every time we don't get rainfall for like 4 weeks, they're talking about hosepipe ban. I don't get that.
Yeah, yeah, we go all through the winter like this one,
Yeah.
absolutely drenched in rain continuously, and then a couple of weeks of sun, and we have hosepipe bans. It is ridiculous, isn't it? We are going back to normal. I don't think we're a very normal country, really, are we? We're a very odd country.
It's like a hosepipe ban. And I'm sat there thinking, hang on a minute, we've just had a whole month of rainfall,
Yeah.
floods, and now you're talking about hosepipe ban. Where's all the water gone?
Well, it's leaked. Much of it leaks away, doesn't it, from the
Yeah, yeah,
Victorian pipes and sewers?
yes. But
But
when
yeah,
they never talk about hosepipe ban in Scotland, though. I've never
do they
heard.
not?
No,
Really?
I've never heard that. Never heard because it's always rain. Well, not always raining. I think it rains more in the north, northwest
Yeah.
than it rains in Scotland. But you know, I, I've never heard it. I might be wrong though, but I've never heard of a
Mm.
hose pipe ban in Scotland because they always have water. So over to you then. What do you think is the most talked about uh, subject?
Well, it depends, doesn't it, on what the circumstances are. I think you're right. If you bump into someone or you're talking to someone on a bus or something, or in a shop, a typical thing is the weather. People say, "Oh, it's nice and lovely and sunny today, isn't it?" and so on. So that, as British people go, I think that is probably we're known to speak about the weather. But as to other things, it's difficult. I mean, we're at a time in life now where I think things are pretty difficult in many ways in our country. We've got lots of waiting lists and lots of potholes and things like